What up, nerds? My name is Leslie Smith. Welcome to the Nerdy Narrative. Today I'm going to run you through everything I read this week, what I am still currently working on, and then what I plan to read next. Let's start off with the short stories I've read since the last time I talked to you guys. I'm just going to mention the stories I read, the collection I read them in, and the author. If you would like to know more of my thoughts about each individual story, I'm going to direct you over to my Instagram. Every morning I'll post a little picture and a couple of thoughts about each story so you can get a better idea of if that particular short story might be for you or not. But let's start with the two that I read from Stephen King's Night Shift collection. That is the LawnmowerMan and Quitters, Inc. I enjoyed both of them very, very much, although I do believe Quitters, Inc. is now in the running to take over my #1 favorite story in this collection so far. I think it might have just passed up Jerusalem's Lot. We'll see. I still have a few stories left in this collection to go. And this morning, actually, the story that I read is from Kurt Vonnegut's Complete Stories collection. It's from his war section and it's called Thanosphere, and I absolutely loved it. None of the stories in Kurt's complete collection have disappointed so far. I have loved and enjoyed absolutely every single one of them. You know, I can't say that for Night Shift, and I can't say that for Flannery O'Connor's Complete Stories. There's been one or two in here that just went right over my head, or I just didn't think were as good as some of the rest. That's definitely saying something good in regards to Kurt Vonnegut. Out of Flannery O'Connor's Complete Stories, which I am reading on behalf of Flannery O'January, I read Wildcat, The Turkey, The Crop, and The Train. Of course, you probably guessed I loved The Turkey because it had a turkey in it, and I love turkeys. I just think turkeys are hilarious for some reason. They bring me great joy. A lot of times I call people turkey all the time, although I do think I picked that up from my dad. But The Train was something special because that short story was actually developed into becoming Chapter 1 of Flannery's novel Wise Blood, and I really loved that book. So I've really been enjoying my short story journey so far this year. Moving into what I read. First up, I read Deeply Personal by Alexis Macaluso, and guys, this was such a joy. Something that changed my whole experience with this. I read the little author's note at the beginning. It turns out these comics that are based on personal ads are actually real personal ads Alexis has come in contact with online or newspapers as she was searching for odd jobs and things of that nature on the internet. So knowing that somebody actually wrote these ads and put them somewhere, all Alexis did was give us a hilarious visual aid to go with it. Just really increased my enjoyment. It just really made it even more hilarious because you know a real person somewhere came up with this. Absolutely enjoyed it. I hope Alexis continues to put more of these out. I hope this was not all of the good ones that she encountered over all the times that she looked through personal ads. So I hope this turns into a series. Moving on to the Bachmann books by Stephen King. I finished up The Running Man. I loved The Running Man. The pacing was so fast. It was non-stop, just action. Even if nothing particular was happening, just the fear of this person's life was constantly in danger at all times, just kept you in a constant state of feeling like at any second something could happen or did happen. Unexpected. It was so good. So good. But the quick gist of it is, a man is very poor. He needs money to be able to try and get his daughter to a doctor to get her flu treated. She's got the flu. She's like 18 months old. It's very serious. So he tries out for this television show and he gets placed on one called The Running Man. With Stephen King, you know there's going to be a twist to it, and the twist is he has to run, hide, and try not to get killed. They have hunters that go out searching for him. Everybody in the world is looking for him. They can report in on him, you know, and win money by reporting where they see him at. And for every day that he survives, his family gets money. It's such a great story. And I'm telling you what hooks you, but there's actually a bigger story that is involved that you find out along with the main character that just really makes that novella a fantastic read. And my next completed read is the novella All Systems Red by Martha Wells. It is the first novella in the Murderbot Diaries. I absolutely enjoyed the stuffing out of this sucker. I binged it in a day. I started it late yesterday afternoon. I couldn't go to bed until I finished it. That's how good it was. I'm going to be completely honest with you. This book has been on my TBR for a very long time. I didn't pick it up because I felt like it was probably overhyped. The one line I remember from everybody's reviews was a robot that was addicted to watching soap operas. And while that is interesting, I wasn't sure if I was going to be completely invested in a story that surrounded that character. While that is a true statement, it is the absolute most tiniest detail of what this novella is actually about. But the bigger story that is involved here is so much larger and so much better than that. I just feel that one statement stands out the most from the reviews. I don't know if anybody else felt that way or if it was just me, but that is just such an unfair assessment of what this novella is actually about. It just really does it a disservice in my opinion. So I think I might have to do my own review of this one and see if I can do it the justice I feel Murderbot deserves. So that will take care of all of my completed reads. Let's talk about what I am still currently working on. I am buddy reading The Bone Maker by Sarah Beth Durst with my friend Sharon Dwyer. I am almost halfway done, and this one is good. It's a very enjoyable read. This is not the best book I've ever read in my entire life. It is absolutely one I would recommend to somebody that wants to try out the fantasy genre to see if it's something they're interested in. It's definitely on the lighter end of fantasy. And the reason I say that, it's a standalone. It's not a 10 to 14 book commitment. It's not as complex as Malazan. So that makes it a great starting point for someone who might want to test out the fantasy genre just to see if it's something they're interested in. Now, I am saying this based on having only read almost half of the book. It could completely change in the second half, but that's my initial thoughts so far. I'm really enjoying it. I'm learning about the different types of magic surrounding bones. You've got bone makers, bone wizards, bone readers, and there's one more. I don't think I've met anyone in that profession yet, so I'll have to update you guys on that one later. And so that's my only in-process read. What am I going to read next? Well, I'm going to dip into Night of the Mannequins by Stephen Graham Jones. It's a little skinny novella. I've heard many, many good things about it from my friends. I anticipate reading this one in one go, so I'm looking forward to that. I don't know what it's about. I'm going to assume there's something to do with mannequins. It's Stephen Graham Jones, so it's probably going to be something really weird. And then I'm going to finally dip into Joe Abercrombie's The Wisdom of Crowds. I've been dragging my feet because I was hoping to get my hands on the audiobook from my library. They've got 4 copies of the audiobook, and apparently there has been a long line since it is still recently released. So I do understand, but was hoping people would get through it a little faster. I think I have 1 or 2 people left in front of me, so I'm gonna go ahead and get started on this one because I just can't wait any longer to see what happens at the conclusion of this trilogy and this series. And that's gonna do it. Those are all of the things that I read, what I'm still working on, and what I plan to read next. It feels like it was a pretty low-key week of reading for me. For those of you who don't know, I enrolled in Casey Neistat's filmmaking class that started on Monday. So that's been taking up a little bit of my reading time. I enrolled in this class to learn how to make better content, tell better stories with my videos. I know you're thinking, well, why would you want to tell a story with a review video? I call it storytelling, but what I mean by that, I just want to do it in a more entertaining, visual way, not just me sitting here being a talking head. I have learned so much already. I thrive on the way that Casey teaches, which he teaches us by doing. He's literally walking us step by step through his process, and that has always been the best way for me to learn something. It has been so inspiring. He has just set off so many ideas, so much so that when I have sat down to read, I've had trouble concentrating because the ideas are just churning. They're just churning. So I'm really hoping I'm able to create those and the way that I'm visualizing them into videos that you guys will get to watch here in the future. So I am going to rely on you guys. I'm just going to be slowly incorporating the things that I'm learning. The trick is Casey's teaching how to pretty much do vlogging, and so I'm having to get really creative and learning how to turn that into something I can use with BookTube. I would love to hear from you. Just drop down in the comments, say, hey, I noticed you tried this today and I like it, or I don't like how you did this, I found it distracting. All feedback is welcome, positive, negative, constructive. So please do not be shy. If you don't want to put it in the comments and you want to send it to me privately, that is perfectly acceptable. I would love to hear from you guys. So with that, I have a project to film for my Casey class, so I'm going to get started on that. Guys, thank you so much for watching today. I hope you enjoyed it, and I will see you in the next one.